that deprivation of something was the driving force, that fire within them that they say, right? Do you think that's a necessity?
I do think so in the vast majority of situations because depending on how successful you want to become, right? That's subjective to everybody. But let's say you want to be a multimillionaire. That's a very successful metric for the vast majority of the population. You want to be a multimillionaire. That is going to take a lot of effort and action, naturally, right? If you're coming from a situation where, let's say you're not in debt, but let's say you didn't grow up rich, right? You're at basically at zero. That is going to take a ton of effort and action, probably 5 to 10 years of sacrificing basically anything that is pleasurable. You're probably going to have to reinvest a lot of money back into yourself that you're making throughout the journey. You're probably going to have to starve yourself of a lot of relationships and friendships because they take away and they don't support you. And so the more you want, the higher the cost, right? The higher the price you have to pay. And with that high price comes a ridiculous amount of will and persistence and desire, right? Because if you don't have that deep desire, why would you pay this big bill? Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. The only reason you'd want to pay such a high price is because your desire to get it is so undeniably big that you'll do anything for it within reason, probably. Right. And a lot
Mhm.
of people go too far and they scam, right? That's a whole other conversation. But that's where it comes from. So if you don't have such a crazy burning desire to take tons of action and like these deep insecurities or whatever it is that drives you, whatever it is deep down that drives you, why would you pay that price? You just wouldn't. You just
Yeah.
wouldn't. And that's when people kind of settle into to averageness and their life and however they want to live it, which is I'm not going to judge anybody, but that's just the reason why not everybody becomes a multimillionaire. It's a
Yeah.
massive price to pay, a lot of sacrifice.
They always, in movies and stuff depict hell being this fiery pit of fear and like, just difficulty. But it also is an interesting concept to think about hell being a world where you have everything you've ever wanted. Like, you have a massive home and hundreds of cars in every color and just everything you could ever want just sounds equally as just terrifying if you really think about it. Because, yeah, at first you'll enjoy all the luxuries and then you get so bored that you just have no desires or drive.
It's just worldly possessions. And in my experience, on my very, very small scale, when I've felt the most fulfilled is not when I'm traveling the world. It's genuinely when I have purpose towards a goal. When I'm progressing and when I'm working towards a goal is when I myself have felt the most fulfilled and purpose driven in my life. That really is, in our frame at least, why I believe we're here is to create our own reality. Like that's truly why I believe that's our core purpose. Be a creator. Made in the image of God. We're like a mini creator. We're doing our thing. And when you just have all these worldly possessions with no purpose, no desire to create, then your existence becomes purposeless. There's no like what purpose is there? Because the purpose isn't tons of cars. Like I think everybody can agree on that. Like that's very fleeting. The purpose is ascension, and the purpose is driving yourself towards a goal. And I think you're right. That is pretty morbid, like the a son of a sheik or something, right? They
Mm,
grow up and they're born into a trillionaire family, and every single aspiration is unexciting. Like
yeah,
starting a company, you're like, why?
right.
You know what I mean? Like everything that we strive for that gives us so much purpose, it doesn't provide any arousal to them. It's not exciting.
Yeah.
That would be very morbid.
Right. Like you have $100 billion in your bank account.
Yeah.
There's no drive to, I mean, you
And
could buy whatever you
yeah.
want.
And that's when power corrupts because that's when you have all of these like trillionaires like trying to control the world
Yeah.
because
Cause
they have
what
nothing
else
else
do
to
you do?
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like, well, I've accomplished everything. I guess the only thing I can get an emotional excitement out of is power. And right,
Yeah.
that's when that's all they do.